Good morning everyone. Today we will start with module 5. The first section is materials management. Now let us see what is material management. Materials, as you all know, are the equipments, apparatus and supplies that are procured, stocked and utilized by an organization directly or indirectly in producing a product such as raw materials, component parts or assemblies. The basic objective of management is to optimize the use of resources. Management functions, the different management functions are planning, controlling, organizing, scheduling, directing, etc. So the material management deals with the managing of materials along with the cost. Therefore, material management can be defined as a scientific technique of planning, organizing, and controlling all those activities principally concerned with the flow of materials into an organization. Flow of materials means that is from their initial purchase to the destination. The purpose of materials management is to assure that this is a very important point, that the main aim of materials management is to assure that the materials of right quantity, right quality from the right source are available at right time and right cost. That is the 5 R's: from right source, at right quantity, of right quality, at right time, for the right cost. Next is importance of material management. So from the definition itself, it is clear that materials management is done to ensure the timely flow of materials. The important factors are to maintain low price, that is, by adopting the latest techniques, economy can be achieved. Then there is regular supply or continuous supply of materials. This can save the labor time and there is smooth flow of production. Third one is continuity in quality. Right quality of materials in required quantity at appropriate cost from the right source at a right time to reduce expenditure on materials. Next is efficient handling of materials or the better utilization of the materials. The next is it results in the improved production capacity of plants, reduction in inventories and storage spaces, reduction in damage to materials, easier production control. That is, by maintaining a steady flow of materials, there is uninterrupted production or operation. Employee fatigue can be reduced and there is speedy disposal of materials which are no more required. That is, losses due to deterioration, obsolescence can be kept to a minimum. When coming to construction projects, the construction materials and components contribute around 50 to 60% of the total construction value. It is that is about 10 to 20% of all the materials delivered to the site either end up as waste or as surplus. So it has been noticed that large quantities of building materials are allowed to be buried or burned each year due to inadequate controls on project size. Hence, proper materials management is required in the case of construction projects. Objectives of material management. The objectives can be classified into two: primary objectives and secondary objectives. The main objective of material management is to keep the cost of the materials minimum. That is, if for manufacturing a product we have to make use of materials. If we keep the cost of that materials minimum, then we can make the final product more competitive in nature. If the product is more competitive, then we can increase the profit of the organization. So the primary objectives of material management are efficient material planning, buying or purchasing, procuring and receiving, storing and inventory control, supply and distribution of materials. These are the secondary objectives: efficient production scheduling, to make or buy decisions, prepare specifications and standardization of materials, to assist in product design and development, forecasting of demand and quantity of material requirements, quality control of materials purchased, material handling, use of value analysis and value engineering, developing skills of workers in materials management, smooth flow of materials in and out of the organizations. We can see all the things planning, storing, inventory control, etc. in detail in the coming sections. Uses of material management, that is, by adopting material management there is better coordination between various departments. It helps in taking decisions speedily and accurately. A right balance is maintained between various conflicting interests under different functions. It is easy to take corrective action due to centralization of authority. Centralization of authority means that there is clear-cut accountability or responsibility, so that it is easy to take the decisions. Then every individual is subjected to different aspects of material functions. Functions of materials management. The functions can be also divided into primary functions and secondary functions. The primary functions include material resource planning, purchasing, inventory planning and control, ascertain and maintain the flow and supply of materials, quality control of materials, departmental efficiency. Secondary functions. The secondary functions include mainly the standardization and simplification of materials, that is, design and development of the product, make and buy decisions, coding and classification of the materials, forecasting and planning. So the different process of construction materials management, or the functions of construction materials management, are material planning, purchasing, storekeeping, inventory control, receiving, inspection and dispatching, value analysis, standardization, material handling and traffic variety, disposal of scrap, surplus, material preservation. So the first function is material resource planning. So material resource planning is a technique that is used to plan the materials starting from the raw materials, finished parts, components, sub-assemblies or assemblies as per the bill of materials to procure or produce them to support material production schedule. So as we all know, the management function of planning is to take estimate of what we are going to do, how we are going to do, when we are going to do it. So estimating the type of materials, quantities and the time at which it is required, that is planning of materials. We should also plan how to store or where to store the materials, how to arrange the transportation in most economical way for the incoming and outgoing materials, what type of material is to be purchased, how to reduce the wastages, how can we manage proper and timely disposal of excess stocks, surpluses, scrap items, etc., cost control of materials, develop coordination between different departments, and also we have to form research and development centers with respect to the materials. Next function is purchasing. It is the job of a purchasing officer to provide the right quality of materials in right quantity from the right source at right time and for right price. Purchasing includes selection of sources of supply, finalization of terms of purchase, placement of purchase orders, follow-up, maintenance of relation with vendors, evaluating, rating and developing vendors. Also, before placing the orders, we have to consider the quantity that is already ordered, quantities reserved and the availability of funds. Process of purchasing includes requisitioning. Requisitioning means the purchasing officer should receive an accurate description of the goods that are required. If there is only accurate description, then the purchase will meet the expectations. Then financial approval. The purchasing officer should receive an authorization or should get a final approval from a responsible person for the purchase. Then market assessment. The purchasing officer should have to also assess the item and he has to negotiate for a lower price. Then the next function or the next process is purchase decision. After doing the market assessment, the final decision will be made, and to avoid the customer complaints, these decisions will be documented. After placing the decision, it can be ordered after ordering, the product will be delivered. After delivering the products, after receiving the products, we have to check the quantity of the products received, and only after that we have to go for the payment. If there is any defects in the materials, we have to return it back, or we have to do the necessary. Next function is the stores management or the storekeeping. So various types of buildings are used for storage of materials depending upon the type of the materials to be stored, the convenience, cost of land, climatic conditions, transportation facilities, etc. There are different types of building materials like cement, sand, aggregate, steel, door frames, windows, bricks, blocks, etc. So different types of material require different conditions of storage. So the main important factors to be considered while storing these materials are economy and efficiency should be maintained. Too much spaces of waste in terms of time and labor, that is, the workflow should be maintained without any hindrance for removing, storing and inspection. So by taking this into account, there are several possible storage layouts. Some of the types are straight through flow layout in terms of storage used, and layout when the materials are grouped together. The main important thing is that an item should be found whenever necessary. Next function is inventory control. The duties of the inventory control department is to decide about the type of ordering system, fixing the safe stock limits, fixing up the reorder level and maximum and minimum stock level. Next function is receiving, inspection and dispatching department. The responsibility of receiving, inspection and dispatching department is to receive the materials when delivered by the suppliers. After receiving it, the quantity and quality must be checked against the blueprints and specifications already put forward. When non-production items will also be received, and it will also be reviewed. Once it is as per the specifications given, the goods will be accepted. As said earlier, if it is not as per the specifications, we will be returning it back or we will be rejecting it. Value analysis and standardization. This offers greatest scope in reducing the materials cost. It also reduces the number of varieties and also helps in finding the substitute for the materials at a lesser cost. Standardization means the formulation, publication and implementation of guidelines or rules for common and repeated use aimed at achieving optimum degree of order or uniformity in a given field. Similarly, specifications also means it is exact statement of a particular that needs to be satisfied, or it is an essential characteristic that a customer requires in a particular product or materials. Specifications can be performance specifications, technical specifications, etc. Logistics. It is a concept that stresses movement of the materials, and it involves planning, implementing and controlling the movement and storage of all the things from the raw materials to the finished products to meet the client requirements. During construction project, routing of the materials will affect the cost and time to complete the construction projects. Next is disposal of scrap and surplus material preservation. So this is very important. The construction materials are delivered as requests are placed. There should be a proper management of the stock control and we should ensure that all the materials are available whenever needed. Stock control means it includes raw materials, processed materials, assembly components, consumable stores, general stores, maintenance materials, spares, work in progress and finished products. Construction activities will generate a large amount of waste and it will cause difficulty to the construction industries. So, when we give orders, we should not give too high orders, and the order should also be not too less. If there are too high orders, there will be excess or there will be a lot of wastage. If the order is too less, there will be shortage of material availability. So the stocks should be obtained and maintained at economic level, and the quantities should be such that there should be uninterrupted flow of the required resources. Excessive inventories will lead to excessive investment in terms of money, and it will require extra space for storing, which may lead to deterioration, obsolescence, etc. So these are the advantages of materials management. There is improved accountability, better coordination between various departments, better performance, analysis of data, better teamwork, improved customer service. Thank you. That's all about material management. In the next class, we will see what is economic order quantity.